Back in the day, there was this really cool card that I barely see get brought up called The Grim Adventures of the KND. It's like a combination of two great shows. I mean, one great show. And the thing is, like, it's actually one of the best cartoon crossovers ever. I've always liked Billy and Mandy, you know, it's a really great show and everyone should watch it. But the thing about The Kids Next Door is that it's kind of lame. Like, when I was a young kid, alright, this is like a really cool show. Kids rule the world, you know, kids are cool, all that. So, like, of course I like it. And then as I get older, like, I'm about to turn 12, 13, I'm like kind of feeling type of way about it. You don't want to be old, so you're like, oh, actually, The Kids Next Door is kind of lame, and that's kind of how I was. But then when I was getting to 14, 15, I realized, wait a minute, no matter how old I get, this is actually a pretty cool idea, just in general. The idea of like kids ruling the world, kids actually being behind everything, being super intelligent, all that. It's actually pretty cool. But the problem with the show is that it doesn't do that. Even the show has the background of being about like kids who rule the world. In reality, it's about kids who don't want to go to the dentist, you know, kids who worrying about what their favorite, you know, cartoon character is, stuff like that. And at the same time, I kind of get it. Making an actual kid's world and then making it into this huge big thing, I understand the logic behind that, but I'm just saying, like, it could have been a lot more than just stuff like that. It could have been an actual plot like going on, you know, like a whole story arc and stuff. Whatever, it's a kid's cartoon, it can do what it wants. The real problem is it's ugly, it's hideous, it has a horrible art style. I hate the way people's mouths are drawn, I hate the way their heads are drawn, all that stuff, it's disgusting. But, you know, who am I to talk? So, once upon a time, you know, creators of these shows decided to come together and make a crossover episode, and we're gonna be going over that today. So, it starts out with, you know, Billy, the resident moron, sub-IQ, negative IQ, stealing his father's pants even though they told him not to, and, you know, he ends up breaking it, and he calls up Ed and Eddie, and he's a broke boy, so they tell him to kick rocks. Then he calls up the kids next door, and for some reason, they care, and they decide to help him out, and it's all very, you know, whatever. I like the idea that these two cartoons, they're entirely different art styles and everything, are in the same universe, and like nobody cares, and actually they've been there the whole time, but we just never mention them. That's actually pretty cool. But anyway, so number one decides to stay back and pretend to be Billy, while they take Billy with them because, you know, he can't be seen where he is right now or something. So they all go with Billy to the mission while number one stays back as Billy. And, you know, obviously Mandy, the only person in the entire episode, for some reason with an IQ, tells it's not him and tortures him with that horrible, disgusting monster elephant that they unfortunately thought they could make a series out of. But thankfully he didn't get on board. After torturing number one, he folds like a chair and tells him everything. Like, you know, he's really a rat if you think about it. Like, this is not the guy you want leading your team. It turns out that the delightful kids are trying to make everyone like them. It's weird because most time niggas are mad about you stealing their style, but this time it's like they want everyone to be like them. And they're also hating too. It's like, listen, no, everyone has to be the same. Let niggas do what they do, it's fine. So they try to stop them, and Billy, being the subhuman he is, messes up with the machine and destroys everything, and it ends up making them all one thing. So now everyone needs to talk the same as them and do all the same as them, you know, because that's their goal, and now they can do it because they have, you know, the Grim Reaper stain stuck to them. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like, the reason Billy's stain is in jeopardy is because the magical Grim Reaper scythe is like stuck to his butt. So they go back to the moon to report their L's. After number one told Mandy all about the kids, you know, squealed about it, she decides to go take over the organization. And again, because everyone else is like, you know, brain rotted, it works out perfectly. She goes in, pretends to be number one to like the leader of the entire Kids Next Door, and the only person with a brain cell except for Mandy seems to be number 5, and she's like, are you guys tweaking? This is clearly like not a bald boy, this is like a girl. And they're all like, yeah, whatever. So they lock her up. And then Mandy ends up taking over the entire organization. I guess she gets the other girl out of the way. She stops even using number one's name, just calls herself herself. Like, it's just like, okay. But meanwhile, number one gets found by Grimm, and for some reason, he is also on the same time as everyone else, and he thinks it's actually Billy. Now that the secret identity is up, he doesn't even care anymore. He's like, just get me back home. And he tries to, you know, tell Grimm that he's like another person, but it doesn't work for like the longest. And they decide to go to the moon to confront Mandy, and she is like not trying to give up power because why do that? She can control the world. Meanwhile, that delightful monster is writing up more blocks, you know, taking more people hostage, all that stuff. It doesn't matter though, because, you know, who cares? They didn't have useful lives anyway, like nothing's changed. So after confronting Mandy, she reveals that her plans to take over the world because why not? Like, why would you have a whole bunch of kids who are on the moon and can do everything, and yet for some reason stay around? Like, this is what I said in the beginning of this video. Like, she just has the right idea and everyone else is a bum. So they're like, okay, we can't do that. We have to be useless forever. And they make a plan to like get rid of her and like, you know, end her tyrannical rule, quote unquote. Also, Mandy notices that the delightful monster thing's like taking over the world, and she has to put a stop to that because you know, if they win, she doesn't, something like that. So there's like a Mandy robot that she fights with, and you know, it ends up bad for them, but it doesn't really matter because at some point Mandy realizes that if she becomes part of the delightful monster, it won't be the delightful monster, it just be her, because her IQ is so strong that like it overrides everyone else. It's like that scene in like Fullmetal Alchemist where it's like, you know, Kimberly is taking over Bright's body because he's just so hard like that it doesn't matter if he's like stuck with a million other souls. It's like he's just him, he's just that guy. It's like that with Mandy and like the delightful monster. So she takes over the body. Also, Grimm and Number One try to fight her back with like their combined skeleton thing. But for some reason, Billy's dad comes out of nowhere and bullies her. So like she is put down, and then Grimm and Number One put the finishing touches, and it's all up, and all these characters from all of the Cartoon Network come out, and it's over. And you know, Billy's dad gets his pants back. Billy's mom is stuck with her terrible family, and Billy himself is basically got away with it. And for some reason, he's back in the Kids Next Door base at the end of the episode. They try to put Mandy in shackles for what she did, but it's not gonna go. Like, she's always 10 steps ahead of everyone. She escapes, whatever. And then the episode ends with, you know, Billy's dad thinking Number One is still Billy. He puts him through the ringer again, while Billy is in the moon base after all this time, claims to be Number One. It doesn't work for some reason this time, you know, not that they've learned any lessons. I'm sure they'll make another terrible mistake sometime later off screen, but whatever. The episode's over, and this is actually pretty cool. Like, I think this is one of the best episodes of both shows. I don't even, like, you know, I don't really care much about Kids Next Door. Not that I don't know much about it, I just don't like it that much. But this is pretty funny. Like, for a show like Kids Next Door that's not really that funny. Okay, I'll say Kids Next Door is interesting. It's not really that funny, though. This is funny. And Billy and Mandy's cool no matter what. Billy and Mandy's like the better show in every way. It has a better art style, has a better humor, has better everything. And even for Billy and Mandy, it's like a higher quality. This is still pretty good. It's actually pretty cool. Let me know what other things you want me to go over. And also let me know if you actually did remember this, because like, I'm just saying that for how often I hear about Billy and Mandy, and like, I guess I see Kids Next Door reference and stuff, I don't really see this special, like, but yeah, just remember that if there's like an external threat to like your organization, but they're like super smart and stuff, and they like are taking over, you might as well just let them, because they have the right of way, because it's not like you're gonna do anything that matters with it.